Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Pipe Farthing. It's been a while. It's been a while, hasn't it? So I am out in my garage, which is somewhat unorganized. It's cold. It's winter. I'm going to warm up some coffee, so excuse this heat for a few minutes. I'm reheating this water, so it shouldn't take but a minute to get it back to where I want it to be for a boil. I'm going to make a French press today, and I'm going to enjoy a pipe. I'm going to enjoy one of my homemade blends. I'm going to enjoy it out of this rusticated Bing's Favorite from Savinelli. And the pipe tobacco I'm smoking is my fourth blend that I've now made, and I'm really happy with it. There's one thing I might tweak in it, but I'm going to smoke. I made about an ounce and a half of it, and I'm going to smoke the rest of it before I make any adaptions. I want to smoke it kind of morning and afternoon. Today it's afternoon, and actually it's late morning, and evening, and kind of different moods, and see what strikes me, because I don't want one smoke or two smokes at night to impact the change I might make to the blend. But I call it Sunday night sledding, and I'm not going to tell you what's in it, but it's kind of chocolatey, coffee, mapley, fun, and a little Latakia and some Oriental in there as well, and some Virginia maybe. But I'm not going to tell you where I get it from or how much is in there quite yet until I get this thing figured out. And then maybe like my last or my first blend, maybe I'll share it with some folks as well if anyone's interested. I did hear, if this has been, 5 weeks or so, but I gave away my first blend, which was definitely, I was going for more of an English blend, but I think it turned out to be more of a Scottish blend. Based on what I understand the difference between an English and Scottish blend is. I don't know if it matters that much. To me, it's a little bit of the English difference between a stout and a porter. This guy can't really tell the difference. But by definition, I guess the English blends can be a little spicier. I think I have that right. And this is not. This is definitely a smooth blend. But I did receive some feedback from two of the guys I sent it to, 2 of 5, I think. And I'm going to be under the impression that if you did not get back to me with feedback, that you did not like it. And that's okay, because I am enjoying the heck out of it. One guy, I really appreciate his feedback, really liked the flavor and it was smooth, but he said it gave him almost like a film on his teeth. And so he drank something with it, it was a little bit better, or he could easily just kind of, use his tongue and it was gone and it wasn't offensive. But I'm kind of curious about that. I'm not sure where that's coming from. I need to smoke that blend again to see what's going on there. And then I'm getting to the topic of this video. Give me about 30 seconds and I'll get there. And then the other gentleman, I'm just humbled by what he had to say. I don't remember his words, but he compared it against some other blend he just smoked. Fireside, that Fireside business that just went out, and from C&D, and he said it's better than that. I don't know what Fireside is. I know it's a mix of dark fired Kentucky and something. That's all I know about it. So thank you for that compliment. That's pretty awesome. My lighter's cold. Let's see how this one is. Should have brought matches out. Well, see if we can get this thing lit and keep it lit here in a minute. Okay, it's been a minute. Let's talk about what this video is about. I didn't really plan much for it other than two things came up. On my way home from Wisconsin yesterday, I listened to, what's the Adam and Nick, what's their podcast? Get Piped. And they were talking about, it was like draft day of tin labels, tin art. And I kind of like those podcasts. I don't listen to a lot of pipe podcasts. They all kind of just ramble about stuff like I'm doing today. So I don't know. It's just not a use of my time. Where I felt like when I listened to the Country Squire radio, I liked how succinct it was, and their topical piece was shorter, and so I could kind of consume that an enjoyable way without taking up too much time. So I think some of these guys that are doing podcasts are doing a really nice job, and I like the conversational approach. Sorry, that sounded critical, and it didn't mean to be. I just meant I don't listen to them because I don't take the time to. So great job, Adam, and I think producer guy Nick. I actually really like your podcast. I just don't listen to it a lot because I don't have the time. Don't make the time for that. But they were talking about tin art. That was really cool. And then there's this kind of, I like the guy, but I don't know. He's kind of nutty at the same time. In some ways, I think I agree with him with a lot of things, like the foundational common sense things in life. But his name is Richard Vobes, and he's got two channels: the Richard Vobes and then the Vobes Show. And Richard Vobes, he goes into his stuff like lithium trails from jets and but a lot of stuff about just living closer to the land, and but he kind of gets into the kind of the government stuff, and I don't know if he gets into UFO stuff. I don't know. I don't really watch that channel. But about 6 months ago, he started doing pipe tobacco content on his channel called The Vobes Show. And I think this guy has a real creative background. I think he was an actor, and I don't know if he wrote for different shows or whatever, but he's really easy to listen to. He's got that wonderful British accent, of course, and his pipe videos are fantastic. He's been smoking a pipe for about a year, and he's really into getting some old tins right now. And because he doesn't like the new tins because of all the government warnings on them, understandably so. But that just got me thinking more and more about tin art, and because I'm a big fan of good tin art, and I'm somewhat dismayed with the tin art that we see these days. Whether it's really plain or it's just, I don't know, it just seems so computerized. And the Frog Morton series, I love it. I think Adam brought it out. The Frog Morton Cellar is Mrs. O'Neill actually is the artist for the Frog Morton tin art. And it's so cool. I love it. But there's something I don't like about their tin art today, no matter how good it is. Got this warm back up. And that is that a majority of the tin art, actually all of it, is either a sticker or it is a wrap. It's just printed paper glued onto the tin. Now, some of the artwork is fantastic, but I do not like how temporary the tins really are. And this has been going on for a long time. I mean, I've got, you can't see it right now, but it's right above this window on a shelf. In fact, let me grab it. I have this tin of Arrowhead pipe tobacco from Paul's Pipe Shop. This is probably going back to the 50s or so. And it's a paper label that's just wrapped around this 1 pound tin. I might do a video that shows when we open this up and trying it out. We'll see. But we did that in September. So the paper printed tin art's been going on for a long time. But what I really miss is when tin art was, what was the correct term that Richard Vobes used? Not embossed. It's like the paint. They like stamp the tin, and then it's that glossy-ish, not glossy, but kind of waxy looking paint. What is that called? I cannot think of it. Oh, this is gonna drive me nuts. It's that like a glaze, it almost looks like a glaze paint. I cannot think of the word for it. I had it in my mind when I sat down 10 minutes ago before I hit record. But I think you know what I mean. I don't even have any tin art that has that. I don't have anything that old or that good. What is that word? That's gonna drive me nuts. If you know what, please put it down below. Anyway, it's just like that kind of craftsmanship has disappeared, and I rather miss it. On that point, I just went to the oldest still operating pipe tobacco shop in our country, just over a week ago. I had the wonderful chance to go to Iwan Ries. in Chicago. I hate cities. Let's just start off there. I absolutely despise going to cities. They're just concrete jungles. They're, of course, this is going out already. They're just, they're loud. They're industrious. They're busy, crime, all that stuff. I don't like it. But I was passing through. I was heading up to northern Wisconsin. I went the southern route around Lake Michigan. Met up with a friend north of Chicago for a late lunch or early dinner, however you want to see it. And I had some time. I was running early. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to stop in Iwan Ries. So I Googled it, found out where it was, and visited that shop. Now, I drove around for like 20 minutes trying to find a parking spot on the road. And that was impossible. And it's busy, and it was frustrating. I almost gave up and just left. But I thought, you know what? I pulled over into one of these like loading zone. You had like 15 minutes to park. And I called the shop. Said, I'm pulling through, where does one park to come visit your shop? And they had a good answer. It is the 55 East Monroe parking garage. So there you go. If you ever want to visit Iwan Ries, park at the 55 East Monroe parking garage. They will validate your parking. You have 12 hours and it'll only cost you 16 bucks, which seems like a lot to park my car. But I did. And funny thing is, I pulled into that lot 20 minutes before. It was the first place I looked. I tried out the streets for one route, and then I saw this parking garage with a sign that said $16 or $18. And so I pulled in. And once you pull into these parking garages in Chicago, you're stuck. You're stuck. Once you go in, you have to kind of go through the whole roundabout 10 times so you can get back out. And I saw the sign, like I went to get my ticket, and it was like $16 for up to 20 minutes. And then it went up to like $48 or $60 for the day. It was freaking insane. But when I called, they said they'll validate the parking and it's 16 bucks. So that's what I did, and that worked out really well. And I got to visit the shop, and it was really cool. I tell you what, they have their smoking lounge. I didn't take any pictures. I just didn't want to be that tourist guy. But the pictures are online, and they match up from what I saw. The smoking lounge, you can get, in the winter months, it's $25 for a day pass, I guess. And then in the warmer months, I think in April through whatever, October or something, it's $20 for a day pass. That smoking lounge was freaking legit. It was beautiful. I kind of felt like I was in the mob, to be honest with you. It was really cool. 2 huge rooms, and then they have a room with a like a table that you could rent. I think it's like $200 for 3 hours. And then that includes your day passes. So, and I think you can do up to 8 people in there. So there's your day pass right there, but you get it for like 3 hours, and it's $50 an hour after that, something like that. So if you want to host an event, I mean, if you get a bunch of guys and you pitch in, it's kind of a fun, once in a while type of thing to do. I don't think I'll do that because I don't like cities, but they had a range of pipes. They had a fantastic variety of pipes. They had drawers full of estate pipes that were, I mean, from like $20 up to whatever. They had more drawers and a wall full of pipes, you know, kind of in this range. Your mid-range Savinelli, Peterson type of pipes. And then they had the wall of awesomeness behind the counter, which was, you know, you're starting at probably $300 on that wall. And they had a whole drawer behind the counter full of estate Dunhill pipes. One that was almost like this. It was just perfectly straight. So it was more of, you know, just a straight bing. And it was an estate pipe. They had 2 of them. They're like $320, and they were beautiful. I tell you what, I mean, if I was willing to spend that much money on the pipe, I probably would have got one. Like, cool, I've got a Dunhill now. But anyway, the pipes just went crazy. They had a fantastic variety of pipe tobacco, and it was different than what I see in other brick and mortar stores. It wasn't just your, or maybe the most unique thing they might carry is Capstan and Balkan Sobrani. The shop that I love the most that's close to me, Campbell's and Lansing, they have a small but fantastic selection of tins. But it's like the Peterson, Balkan Soprani, I forget what else. Oh, I can't remember the brand. It's a cheaper one. I just can't remember. But they were carrying some stuff from Sutliff as well. Iwan Ries and Campbell's, that'll change. And then some C&D and Campbell's. And so anyway, Iwan Ries, they had some C&D and some GLPs. but they had a lot of the Sutliff stuff, like the crumble cakes. They had all the Petersons, which were great, and a bunch of other stuff, like stuff from Dan Tobacco that I've never seen in a brick and mortar before. Just probably because I haven't got out enough. But and there's a lot more that I can't even think of that they had. But they had all the staples, and then, you know, it was a wall of tobacco tins, and it was good. It was impressive. I thought it was going to be cheap, and so I was thinking, oh, I'm going to get some tobacco here, and no. The price tags were good. They had a tin of crumble cake from Sutliff for the English, #1, I think they call it. And it was like $17.95. I was like, sweet, I'm going to buy a few tins of this. Well, they don't include the 10% sales tax of Illinois or the 28.5% tobacco tax. And I said, why don't you just include it in the price? And they said, because we want you to know how much they tax us. All right. Actually, that's kind of nice. I actually like that. Anyway, I did get something. I smoked a tin of one of their own blends. I smelled all their different blends. And this is the original label. It's Spillman mixture. And definitely along the lines of more of that English blend, but it was very mild, very flavorful. I only had one bowl of it in the shop, so I don't recall the flavors, but it was enough to buy this 8-ounce tin. And this is still done under the name of E. Hoffman Company. That's the original owner of the place. So he opened it up in 1857, and it's the original label. And the cool thing is with this original label is this is a separate sticker, kind of that old tin sticker that would go over the lid. I thought that was a nice touch. Going back to tin art, this is really a beautiful tin art label. Beautiful label. But it's not real. I mean, it is. It's tangible. It's real. But it's a facade. It's a facade. And that's just so sad. Same with this. So I like tea, right? I've been getting into tea now lately. Beautiful little piece of old school tin art from Harney and Sons Tea. Really cool looking, right? It's a sticker. It's a facade. It's not the fullness of what it could be or should be. It's it's just a facade. It's just digitally created, done on a computer, mass printed on these labels, and just either stuck on or glued on. And I get, this has been going on for a while, right? Remember, this has been going on for a while. So I'm not completely poo-pooing this. It just, I would pay more for a tin of tobacco if it was just done fully right. I think if you're gonna put the time into a beautiful tobacco blend, and it's a good, solid blend, I'll pay more for a tin that's indented, and I still can't think of the word, but painted on with that, that whatever that is, however they used to paint on the tins, however that was done. And I know that was probably some sort of machinery and done en masse, but it was still just felt more human. It felt more hands-on, felt more analog, not so digital. Now again, this is cool. I love this. And it's fine that it's a wrap. It is fine. We've been doing that for a long time. But it's nostalgic to the point where I wish we put the effort that we used to put into things. And I know at that time frame it was the newest, coolest thing, and why aren't we hand drawing every single label that goes out? You know, we're gonna make 5,000 tins. We're gonna need 5,000 labels, man. I get it. I'm not arguing to go back to a past. I'm arguing that maybe once again we should revisit being more involved in something like tin art. And perhaps we have to do, even with our tobacco blends, is we need to get more involved in the tobacco blend again. And that's the thought I've been having since the STG acquisition of Sutliff, or McBaron. That's the way of big business. Like, what did you expect, right? But they're getting rid of these blends and they're just mass producing more and more. And frankly, a lot of the tobaccos we do purchase are kind of from mass produced industry. Okay, we can argue that back and forth over beer, and there's good points and bad points. And but I like, I think Alan Harrelson just put out a post that he's just getting ready to put to seed some tobacco plants, and he really wants to start getting into growing his own tobacco, and then I'm assuming his own processing of that tobacco. And I do think we need to focus more on that. The small is beautiful approach, even to tobacco. And I know there's no money in it. I mean, Alan's not going to make any money doing that. And I know that's probably not why he's doing it. Well, I don't know. I'm assuming based on the content of his channel. He's doing it for himself and probably for those close to him, and maybe make a small business out of it. Who knows? Doesn't matter. I don't care. I mean, I care because he's a brother in Christ, but that's his decision. It doesn't matter to me, right? I know he's going to make a good decision. So God bless him. But I love that he's starting it. He's going to try to grow some on his own. And I think we need to start putting more care in our own hands in the dirt with the things that we do in this life. And I think maybe even for tin art, even though that's a cool label, can we even do better? Because art is good for the soul. Beauty will save the world. Christ saves the world. But beauty will draw people to Christ. Yeah. Anyway, that's just some thoughts I had around that. The other thing I hate about this is just that stupid cardboard crap. Put it in a real tin so I can actually just keep this on my shelf long term. I have to put this in a jar because that cardboard stuff, it's going to leach air in time. And I don't know, that just seems so chintzy. But here's the thing, here's my question. I got my brother a fold of Iwan Ries tobacco, and I got this tin. It's 7 ounces, not a half pound. Both of them manufactured by Sutliff Tobacco Company. The other one said McBaron. I don't know what's going to happen. They have done this. It is the original. It's an iteration of the original blend. It's the original label for this one, Spillman mixture. This particular mixture goes back to 2005. So I don't know what they're going to do. They got to find someone else to blend that. And they used to do it themselves in-house, but for who knows how long. Sutliff and McBaron have been doing it. So I don't know what's going to happen to Iwan Ries's own tobacco. I could keep going. I've got a lot on my mind today, but I think 23 minutes is long enough. So what I'm curious about is where have you, I should probably ask these questions more up front, but I don't plan these videos too well. Where and what have you been spending more time on to do things in not such an industrious way? One thing that I do is I do a lot of handwriting journaling. I want to start writing more handwritten letters to people, more intentional handwritten letters, maybe with a real photo that I send rather than just send a digital copy. And that's one area that I'm looking into. And then some gardens around my house, which I'll do some videos on that come spring and summer. But what have you been doing to just get more incarnational and not so ambitiously industrious? 24 minutes is long enough. I'll see you guys on the next video. God bless you all. Happy Sunday.